All right, Thursday Night Forum is open for session. Welcome everyone who has been waiting patiently. It's all Tony's fault. Tony and Gary up top. Thanks for joining, Tony and Gary.
Hello,
Alonso.
everyone. Hello, Ray.
Alonso and Sam.
Hey guys.
Evening, everyone. Evening.
And Anthony was going to join us, but we have a what do you call it? A reserve. First reserve will be Stan. He'll be joining us as well. So, listen, the title of the show, and thanks everyone for joining. And Gail, thanks for joining as well. Title of the show is Momentum Leads to Confidence. Bit of a Star Wars theme to this. Confidence leads to swagger, and swagger leads to belief. And we didn't like it so much. It was a short-term pain at the weekend. Sam knows all about that. We understrength our FA Cup side, Sam, but we got the benefit, and we sure did want to get the benefit of resting our main team for Tuesday night's game against Southampton.
Yeah, you want me to go?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Your name is Sam, right? He called out.
He's got this lovely way of introducing a segment.
Your name is Sam, right?
He'll mention my name, then go on for another 10 minutes. So I don't know where I come in, but yeah. I mean, of course. I mean, but the interesting thing is now. Well, interesting. I actually think it's. I didn't really like it, to be honest, but he apparently
That's why I went to you first.
Apparently, in the post-match press conference after the Southampton game we just won, now the league game, he basically said that he was forced to make. There were 6 changes he was forced to make in the FA Cup game because he wanted players to be fit for the league game. There were players who were struggling for fitness. Now, why didn't he say that back then before the FA Cup game? Because then I wouldn't have been so pissed off. Right? This is what gets me. Why didn't he say that then? What's the difference between saying it after the league game and saying it, before the cup game, and making people realise the reason why we're playing with so many different players is because we actually have 6 players we're a little bit worried about. It's just stuff like that. Stuff like that just gets to me. Anyway. So yeah, of course. We got a much better result in the league, and I'm happy we did. Of course, it turned out well, didn't it?
Yeah, and we can go to Alonso. Alonso, your thoughts on the Tuesday game, 3-1 win over Southampton, and we're going to get into it in some detail, but a pretty comfortable game for us in the end. 3-1 win.
Yeah, I think that we're all nervous because of what Southampton's game did to us on Saturday. We felt kind of not fully at ease, but we knew that since we had some players that were missing, that they will come back stronger and hope for the best. I think that Saturday's lineup was pretty good. Despite that, we were missing Tierney. I thought that the game plan was a win, obviously, and you want your best 11. Unfortunately, our best 11 still isn't there yet, but we have Tierney, who hopefully will be back soon. But nevertheless, I think that we were due for performance. And lately during this streak we've been on, that our younger players have finally found our place in the team, and it kind of shows that we could play with them as well, and it shows the outcome that has been a positive one.
Yeah, Tony, a real good result, and some players. One player in particular, Pepe, was molded into the first team pretty much, and due to obviously, we want to also call out Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and send him our best wishes. We're so happy that things look to be doing really well with his mother, and we all know how important that is. Family's number one, and we all would feel the same way. And I actually feel like he should, rest a little bit more. And on Saturday we'll talk about the Manchester United game. But Tony, your thoughts on Tuesday?
It's nice to finally see us scoring goals. We've been scoring them lately. We have a second best defense record, so it's nice for us to finally start scoring. That's been our main problem the whole season. No offense, barely taking shots, back passes, no aggression going forward. It's nice to see the change.
Yeah, and John here, the Revenant, I believe his name is John.
Yeah, it's John.
Thanks to Liverpool crushing the Spurs today, which was eminently laughable and wonderful. Three terrible
Yes.
mistakes.
Lovely. Big up, John. Big up, John. Nice to see you in the chat. Thanks for spanking the shit today. We always like it when the shit gets spanked.
That sounds dirty, Sam. We do like it when the shit gets spanked.
Oh my.
Yeah, Gary, stage one of the rebuild, which we've been talking about, was defensive stability. We have got the second best defensive record now, thanks to Liverpool doing that to the Scum as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm liking that was the one thing that Arteta did, right? He brought defensive stability to us and a plan that he could utilize anybody in our team and get something out of it. So I like that. I mean, in the game, the Southampton game, I was a little like Sam. I was kind of like, what's going on? We're bringing in our weak team. But then you look at the game, you look at some of the stats, we actually had opportunities to score, right? So, and we didn't take advantage of it. Initially, my thought was, if we're going to go with this weak of a team, then maybe we should kind of get a solid back in terms of going with like maybe 3 or 5 at the back and maybe, try to at least win the game that way. But I think we had opportunities to score. We didn't. And the defense is the only one that scored in that game. So there you go, right? So Arteta definitely has a plan there, and I'm glad that, he started with that because that was our biggest problem has been back there. So happy to see that. I mean, no. So I'm happy with the defense, and I'm happy with the win, and would still like to be in the FA Cup, and I think we could have. Even with the lineup that we had, I think the approach just wasn't, to me anyways, the right one, because we needed to score in that game. We had opportunities to, and we just didn't finish them.
Yeah, and I think it was Gail's tweet I was watching. Our defense has not been individually spectacular, but as a group, we have been a pretty good group at the back. And, Arteta has molded the team into being defensively responsible, let's say. We all know we have deficiencies in certain spots in the back four, but yeah, that has been very, very important. And to harp on a little bit about the confidence, confidence in it's a great thing, a belief in yourself, a belief in the team, Sam, belief in your teammates. So you start getting results, you start believing in each other, and you start playing your own game. And that's what we saw with Arsenal on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we talked about a while ago, wasn't it? We saw a team that was just not performing. There was no confidence. No one could finish anything. There was just, it was just terrible, wasn't it? We were seeing the same again and again. And we said, as soon as we find the right combination, you've got to find the right combination of players. We wanted to see the youngsters come in and play because we felt that, they could come in and give us 110% and play together because, their previous history. And we knew that as soon as we could start winning a game or two, that would build momentum, that would build confidence. It would let us play. It would enable us to play more freely. Open up a bit more, take the handbrake off. And that's what happened. We're really pleased to see that that's what happened. We did manage to do that, and we've built up this nice momentum now. Where if you don't look at don't look at the cup. We're doing quite well momentum wise, and got a nice little streak going now, haven't we?
Yeah, Stan, thanks for joining us as well.
Stan, nice to see you.
Hello, Stan.
And I don't blame Anthony if he's watching this on the playback. The disease got to him. He fell asleep, and Stan was for next man up mentality on this channel. Welcome, Stan.
Super Stan.
Super sub.
Super sub. Yeah.
Super sub.
Or as I always said, Stan, be on standby. Get it?
No, don't do that again.
That's a bad pun. It wasn't very punny.
Gary,
All right.
hang on, Gary. Are you broadcasting from my nan's house? Because I look like a wallpaper.
Hey, Nan. No.
And that's a green screen.
No. This is the downstairs TV room. So
The assemble said, "Good morning, everyone." Mourinho, repeat. Let's the Spuds dream. As I always say, Spurs do what Spurs do. It never seems to involve the league title. So, Stan, Tuesday night against Southampton, we put out the weekend side at the weekend. We go out of the cup, but we got sort of compensation on Tuesday night.
Yes, I mean, what does it tell us that we are now, that this is the team that we're relying on to get us out of the shit?
Yes.
You know, these young players, people like Martinelli, ESR, are getting into the team. I mean, people like Willian now, it seems like they're the kind of backup, and some of these people that are now turning into the backup players, it seems like we're creaking a little bit when we have to field them, and I put Eddie in there as well. So it's quite fascinating how the team has spun around, because it should be the other way around. There should be the players that are the backup players should be the ones leading the charge, and then these other players should be filling in the gaps in the cup games and injuries and things like that. So, I mean, if this is a case of Mikel Arteta stumbling onto something, let's just hope he has the nous to stick with it, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly,
And Stan, our defensive stability now with Liverpool doing what they did to the scum today, loving that.
What was the score, by the way? Because I didn't catch anything.
3-1.
3-1.
Mourinho moaning mistakes from his defense.
yeah, and Bar took away 2 goals, one from each of them. So it was a busy day.
Yeah. So, but Rob Holding on Tuesday night, Stan, had his 100th appearance for Arsenal.
It's crazy, isn't it? Doesn't seem like it, does it? Because he's had such a bit of a stop-start career with Arsenal. I didn't know that until you just said it. Rob Holding has had 100 caps for Arsenal. Wow. But I think him being in the team is deserved. He's not really putting a foot wrong. He's not perfect, but he's doing a very good job there at the back, I think.
Yeah.
Whether he's paired with Gabriel or Pablo Mari, he looks good. I'm not sure about the pairing with him and David Luiz, and I think that pairing, my doubts about that pairing sort of like more on the David Luiz side of it.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it as we preview the Manchester United game coming up. But we're going to ride this momentum here with the 3-1 win. So, Sam, we can see the goal from the pretty early. I mean, maybe we should talk about the Lacazette chance, Sam, first. In the first minute, Arsenal have deployed this pressing style in this game. Emile Smith-Rowe and a lot of the front players getting involved in that. Turn the ball over, and Tony's not going to hear it, but Granit Xhaka played a great pass through to Lacazette. Lacazette unlucky not to score really in the first minute.
Yeah, I mean we started well, didn't we? We started with pressing well, and we created a chance early on. Lacazette, unfortunately, he's like that, isn't he? For us, he misses a lot of chances, unfortunately. Not quite good enough, as a lot of us keep saying. We'd like to upgrade him for someone a bit better who can finish a bit more often. We'll get us some more goals. But yeah, I mean, it was a good start. And then we just switched off a bit, didn't we, on a counter-attack and got that goal against us quite early, which is something we switch off quite often, which isn't very good. But then we got back into it, lucky enough. But yeah, but it was a good start. We pressed. Lacazette got that chance. Unfortunately, he missed. And he's someone I'd like to see us upgrade. In the near future.
Yeah. So then, after missing that chance, Tony, after 3 minutes, I think it's Holding concedes a corner with one of those crosses. A lot like the Everton game. We don't see the pressure crosses coming into the box. Corners conceded, and I see Saka is asking Pepe to watch Armstrong, and he loses him in a training ground move.
Yeah.
He did poorly there. Even though we've improved so much this year on set pieces, we're +2 on goals, and we're like -20 or something last year.
So we definitely improved on set pieces, Tony.
Yep.
Cool. That's good. Gary, great connection from Armstrong from the corner. And, from that position, he really put the ball away nicely.
Yeah, it was similar to, the Villa game. One of our players decides to back away from, an unmarked man. I mean, you look at it and you look at the replay and you see Pepe just backing away from him, giving him more and more space, and you're like, no, that's Pepe, I guess, right? We have to deal with that.
Yeah.
He's not defensively switched on when he needs to be, and that's kind of why he probably sits. I mean, if he takes a step forward as opposed to a step back, he'll be in the path of the offensive play when the ball comes out. Maybe the shot doesn't get off, but yeah, I mean, we got lucky. I mean, we're not lucky, but we basically woke up after that and did what we're supposed to do. But yeah, it would have been nice if Laki would have started it for us. I mean, I know a lot of people said, you know what, he saw an opening underneath the goalie, but I just find it hard to believe that the far corner of the goal wasn't an easier mark. At that point. I mean, I don't know if I could do it. I don't think I could do it, but I just feel like, that's your job. If the goalie's giving you the far corner, you take it. Maybe I'm stretching and asking him to do too much, but it looked like an opportunity was there.
Steve Denton said, Tony, you're some guy. Tony, you're one of my heroes. But Stan, I think I was watching you guys on the Same Old Arsenal, a good podcast the other night. I'm sure you won't be yawning during this podcast. So everyone else had the yawning bug, right?
Yeah, I know. I don't know what's going on there. Was my monologues too long that night? I'm usually short and sharp, but I did go on a bit about my Martin Odegaard things, and everyone was like yawning.
Well, you'll have an opportunity to do that tonight as well. But you guys did mention the really, really good thing about this result is that we go 1 goal down, but we were able to come back and score 3 goals. In the end, it's a comfortable victory.
Can I just add on to something? I actually think that Sam and Gary are a little bit harsh on Lacazette's missed chance, I think. Because the way that I saw it, I thought the goalkeeper came out pretty quickly. And I thought he had a good presence of mind. He had a couple of options that he could do within a few seconds, right? He could have tried to take it around the keeper, maybe to his right. The other option he had was he could have maybe tried to have chipped the keeper, or the third option was he could try and nutmeg him, which is the one that he went for. And when you look at the replay, he was so unlucky that as the ball goes through the keeper's legs, it kind of just bounces up and hits the underside of the keeper's thigh, causing a deflection. But what I really liked about that whole sequence was that when the ball took that slight deflection and kind of sort of bounced up, Lacazette didn't give up on the chance. He went herring forward as much as he could to try and get to the ball to do something else. And I think that maybe a few months ago, you might not have seen Lacazette, trying to get to the ball. So I know that, he's a top scorer now, isn't he, this season with 7 goals?
7 goals, yeah.
And I do agree that
8 goals.
Perhaps
8 goals.
8 goals. Sorry, Tony. All right. Bloody hell. So, I do agree that, that I would like to see us maybe upgrade on him at some point in the summer, hopefully in the summer. But his work ethic has seemed to improve. I like, as I say, making that run. But also as well, where Emil Smith-Rowe said when he was interviewed about, getting into the first team and how he's finding it, the one person that he gave a big shout out to was Lacazette. He said of everybody around, he's the one that's really helped to ease him in and is spending a lot of time mentoring him, which surprised me. That surprised me. I always had it down that Lacazette would probably just stick with the people that spoke his language.
Yeah.
And may have been kind of, nearer his age, something like the Aubameyangs and that. So to hear that he's spending a lot of time with one of our young prospects is, again, I'm very pleased to hear that.
Yeah, also though, Stan, he wants to develop that understanding with Emil Smith Rowe. He could actually assist him in a few goals and help him along. And
Yeah, exactly.
Lacazette seems his game seems to blend with the three other players around him as well.
Yeah,
You know?
definitely.
So if I say something negative about Xhaka, will you back him up, Stan?
Say again, what?
If I say something negative about Xhaka, will you back him up?
It just listen. It all depends on the moment, right? It depends on the moment. You know, if you look at the last couple of games,
Yeah.
he's been trying to move the ball forward a lot more.
No, I agree.
You know,
I like Laka. I like Laka. That was just the first 4 minutes of the game. If that's all I saw, and that's kind of where I was at that 4 minute mark. I was like, wow, that was an opportunity there lost.
Yeah,
So
a real good
that was
opportunity as well.
if I go with the first 5 minutes of the game, damn, that was close. You know, we should have gotten a goal out of that. You know,
It's-
you look at
it's
the
not-
next 85 minutes of the game, and totally different story. But like I
Yeah.
said, I like Laka. He's been doing well.
Yes.
I think he likes this formation, this squad. So
He's been doing a lot better. He's been doing a lot better now with this this new lineup we have. He's been one of our best players. He links up very well with Smith Rowe and Saka, and I think he's found more form lately than he has in a long time, definitely. And he's been scoring a few goals as well. But the point of that chance was, I can agree that it was a more difficult chance to take. Definitely, I mean it's not one I would really expect him to score. Absolutely expect him to score on. And that's not really what I meant. It was just like it's Lacazette again. Missing a chance when he's got one, because it's something he does quite often.
Sam, the problem really is as well is the first minute of the game. You're not really warmed up. You're not into the game.
Yeah, sure. I mean, listen, I'm not. It's not the worst. It's not the worst miss he's had by far, is it? That's not what we're talking about, really.
I mean, teams do score in the first 5 minutes of games. So it's not. We can't say, all right, it's first 5 minutes you don't score. I mean, that's
no.
when you get to jump on top of a team, especially one that just beat you, you want to take advantage of that. So.
And how long after it was it until we actually scored the goal? Not long, was it?
Yeah. Not long at all. And Gail said, "Oh, come on, the keeper gets out super fast. That was inches." And as Tanner will always say, the other team get paid to play as well, right? So, Sam, so we get the goal through Nicola Pepe. Some good play from Saka.
Yeah.
It's good play from Saka in the left back position, pressuring their left back, and comes to Partey. Partey does the right thing. He feeds Xhaka, our playmaker, and Xhaka, our number 10, Xhaka, and he feeds Pepe. And Pepe, you can see him trying to get his feet sorted out. He's ready.
Yeah, I mean, if he made a decent run in there,
He's ready, Ray. He doesn't have two. He has one, like I do.
He made a decent run in there. I mean, he was in the right place at the right time. The pass was a good one, and he finished well. It was a good finish, Unfortunately, that's something we don't see very often from Pepe. That's the thing, we see far too little of that. And unfortunately for Pepe, if we're going to be honest, the rest of the game for Pepe wasn't very good either, was it? He scored that goal, and that was about it for him, was it? Playing out left. He's playing out left is something he's done a couple of times earlier in the season. It might be better for him in terms of crossing. He can use his left foot then to cross, but he always likes to try and cut inside, and then on his right foot he can't do anything. So, but yeah, I mean, it was a decent finish. It was a decent run, and yeah, he did a good job there by scoring, definitely.
Yeah, Alonso 1-1 at that point, and we're getting.
What chicken I started out with?
What's that, Ray?
1-1 at the time. We're starting to come into the game. Then we start growing into the game, right?
Yeah, so I think we had better possession in the first half, and I think that whenever you have a lineup like we have, Partey can control the pitch and the midfield more, and I think it allows Xhaka to roam freer and do his own thing, whatever that is, and which is good to see because we've been lacking that defensive midfielder for a long time. And I think when we brought Xhaka in, was for him to be a defensive midfielder, which he never was. So it enabled him to be that central midfielder that he's been known to be before he came to Arsenal. And I think that you see a lot more movement from him, knowing he has a capable partner beside him that can do his dirty work that he can't do. So, I don't know. It's just kind of cool to see where he could hold the ball up finally after all these years. And I think that it's kind of cool that we could finally hold possession and we could be a threat now, where in the past he wouldn't be able to do that because Xhaka has been caught so many times. So that's kind of good to see, and it kind of shows that we can hold the ball more often.
Yeah, Tony Saka scores the lead goal in the 38 minutes. Again, combination with Saka. He feeds Lacazette very quickly, and Saka is there, and somebody goes past the goalkeeper quite easily. So the goalkeeper sold himself again a little bit on that one.
Yeah. Those two know how to link up well, and Saka gave it to Aka and got past the goalkeeper.
Gary, how good is Bukayo Saka? How good has he been this season? That's his 7th goal this season, and he scored more goals than all of the teenagers in the Premier League combined.
Yeah, Saka is, as I think I mentioned in another audit, he's our best player, and he's shown it. He's been the most consistent throughout the season. Not too many lows. He's pretty much been there. He gives us definitely a lot of opportunities when he's out there, either by himself or positioning himself. And that was a great play to be able to get that ball past the goal and then slot it in when anybody can get there. That's what he's been. I think now he's got a lot more friends with him. Before he was like the youngster out there with all the oldies, and they weren't into it. The little young games that were going on. He got some more youngsters in there with him, and it's open. He's opened them up, and now he can flourish, and that's what he's been doing. So, enjoying watching him play. Keep doing what you do. Saka, we love it.
Stan, Lacazette. Is this the best Lacazette we've seen in his whole Arsenal career?
It's getting sort of near that, isn't it? I mean, what's the average of season for us? The average is around about 12, 13 goals, right?
14, 15 goals.
It's less than what Oliver Giroud used to put up. He's never beat Oliver Giroud's numbers in ways of goals. But I just wanted to go back to Nicolas Pepe a minute and ask a question. So I can't remember which one of you said it. I think it might have been Gary or Count Dracula. One of you said... last week, but one of you said that he scored the goal and then he really didn't do that much. So my question is, what would you think if we put him back in the team for the next game and he done exactly the same thing? He scored a goal or got an assist, but then didn't really do much in the game.
I mean, I didn't answer the question, but can I get in there real quick before
go on.
the original? If he does that in the next game, that's the least he can do, because that's what I expect him to do every time he's on the field. He gives us something, and that's one of the things that we just never know when it's going to come.
Gary, your mic is just a little loose there.
Oh my God! Oh, is it gone?
Yeah, Wi-Fi's not very good round at my nan's.
Is it better now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, sorry about that. But no, what did you catch anything that I said? No. Okay. All right.
You were reaffirming your initial thought.
No. I was just saying that if Pepe can do that in the next game, then I'll be happy with it, because that's the least. That's what I expect to get out of him. Some glimpses, some blips, some positive blips, because that's what he's been giving us. And if that's what we get, then I'll take it. The problem is he's disappeared for games. I think now with the structure that we have in place, hopefully those opportunities come more often, and it opens himself. He's awake to it. So, if he gives us that in the next game, I'll take it. Should he play the next game if Martinelli is healthy and ready to go? I don't think so. But everybody talks about
What if?
front four is in form, so why not play them again? But
Yeah, what have you seen
Martinelli-
by Martinelli, Gary? That would make you put him in there ahead of Pepe?
the energy that he brings, the fact that I believe that he does a lot more when he doesn't have the ball at his feet, and that's something that the youngsters have been giving us, and I think Martinelli gives us that. I mean, just in the last game that he played, right? Yeah, he's got that opportunity where he fluffs the ball. How often do we see Pepe do that when he has, we saw that in this last game, but we haven't seen that before. So I don't know. I feel like Martinelli is the spark of this whole thing. Millsworth Row is the fire, but I think it kind of started with Martinelli, so I kind of like to see him continue. So that's just maybe that's my
It's
my
definitely
view of things.
as we get into the Manchester United game in a few minutes. It's definitely one of the spots on the left wing that Arteta is going to have to make a big decision on Saturday. But Stan, I know what you're talking about. Pepe, as frustrating as he is, if he gives you some end product in terms of an assist or a goal, then he's surely worth his place in the side, right?
So this is what I'm thinking. I mean, can he be that kind of? Is he like a maverick player where, you might not see him doing that much in the game, like Sam said, but then he may pop up, and he'll stick a goal away or do an assist, and then may go quiet again. If he's going to do something, if he's able to do that, then I will take that. But the problem is that we never get a chance to see it because he never gets a run. And I would wager that if Aubameyang's fit to play again for the next match, it will be him and Saka, and Pepe would be the one to miss out. Yet again, another example of him not getting in any rhythm. I'd like to see him play another game on the spin, and see what work the work ethic is like. Whether that's his style of play, that he's quite quiet, and then he'll pop up with something which will lead to an end product, whether it be a goal or an assist.
But this whole Maverick thing, though, this is what we've got to move away from, in my opinion. We had
an end product like a goal or an assist. I mean,
we had a Maverick called Mesut Ozil, didn't we?
No, I wouldn't agree. I disagree. I think Sanchez was a Maverick before. Sanchez was a Maverick. He was the one that would often than not go running off with the ball when he could pass it. Sometimes run himself into cul-de-sacs, hold on to the ball for too long, have sometimes shrugging his shoulders when he didn't get the ball, but then he could pop up and do something which could really help the team, like score a goal or create one.
But Sanchez is one of our best players. He was an amazing player for us, the way he links up with other players.
Pepe does that as well, but he doesn't do all the other things that you said Sanchez does.
Pepe doesn't press. He doesn't. His work rate's poor. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing off the ball defensively. This is the stuff that we need to do that.
So, Sam, I've come to the conclusion that Pepe is Mesut Ozil with end product. He's as frustrating
It's one way of looking
Mesut
at it.
Ozil was, but he's going to give you that end product if he's in the team.
But then, listen, if he has to, I'd rather. Let me put it this way: I'd rather play him ahead of Willian, right?
Yeah.
So that's fine. It's fine with me to play Pepe ahead of Willian, but when everyone's fit, no, he doesn't get to play. Sorry, he's not good enough.
I found it very telling that Aubameyang's out of the team, so there was space, and rather than move Saka to the left side, which is kind of like the side that he's sort of been playing for most of his career, he kept him on the right hand side, and it was Pepe that took up the empty slot. Which means as soon as that slot, is filled by the captain again, he will miss out. So that surprised me. I thought for that game that you would put the players where they're. I mean, it worked. Don't get me wrong, but it just tells me that it really seems that Saka is going to be that player that's his side now. That is.
It works.
I mean, but if
Aubameyang
didn't leave, he would have been playing in that left position. So instead of having to retool inside your brain where I'm going to play today, he just said, I'll just I had to take one out, I'll put one back in, and I won't change anybody else's position and then focus coming into the game, which I think is a good, right? You want to, Saka can do it, but there's probably no reason to, especially if, like, you know what, he's been good there. There's no reason to move him, and Pepe may do well, and he did. I think this is another one of those signs where did Arteta really, would he have made that move on another day, or did he just get lucky that it worked out this time, and now he knows that, you know what, if I put Pepe on the left, maybe something good will happen.
We've tried him out left a couple of times before. I remember.
Oh, that's with the older. That's not with what the stronger team that we have now in terms.
I know.
Of
I'm just saying he has played out left previously, and it didn't really work out very well. So I think he was just like, okay, let's put him out there because he can play out left because I want Saka to keep going out right because Saka's working very well on the right. And Pepe scored a goal. Got to give credit where it's due. He scored a goal, but for me, the rest of the game, he just didn't really do what he's supposed to do. But that's my opinion.
Well, I would honestly like to see him because you keep hearing people say things like, comments like, you can see the player in there. Well, I don't want to, squint my eyes and see if there's a player in there. I just want to know. And the only way that I think that we're going to find out is give him a run of games, whether it be 4 games or 5 games, and you give yourself an opportunity then to really see what this guy is all about, especially if, say, on the first game, he has a bit of a stinker. He's the sort of guy then that will come in for the second game and not dwell back to the last game, but will try harder. If he's a player that in the first game, for example, he has a good one, can he then, in the second game, follow that up with an equally good performance?
He needs to flow.
But is that Pepe?
That we've pledged to invest in Nicola Pepe is worth it. And I think the only way that me personally, I'm going to sort of find that out is by seeing him have a run of games. So I can either put a tick next to his name or a cross. Because I'm kind of still a little bit, I think that we overpaid for him, obviously. But I'm not definitively, you know what I mean? I think that maybe he's a player. Some players need a bit of rhythm. And he's been very stop-start. And I think that can hamper certain players. So give him a run of games, whether it be 4 or 5 games, and let's find out what sort of stuff Nicola Pepe's made out of.
Yeah. So, Gary, a great win all in all, the Southampton game. All of our forwards scored. Pepe, Saka on the right, and Lacazette. Finishing off a great move. We have to sort of talk about Cedric as well. Had a great game playing at left back. May have solved our fullback issues or cover for Kieran Tierney.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think he's been getting better every time he's come out. And this, at least in the last game, he definitely showed that we have a backup there. So that's nice to see, and that's what we need. And we may need it again, right? We don't know yet. I don't know if Tierney's been if he's going to be healthy.
This kind of lends weight, and we'll get into this debate a little bit more, lends weight to maybe putting Pepe and giving him a run inside, because we've seen Cedric do the same thing and step forward as well. A great crossfield pass, Gary, to Saka, first time ball, and Lacazette knows he's going to collide with the post, but he's there to put it away.
Yeah, no, that was it was good to see. I mean, you look at the replay and he's like, he just gets his foot up in time, because I don't think he was going to go with that foot at the time, at least. That's what I thought. And he was able to get his foot at least opened up enough to get that ball in there. So that was great, good to see. And that's what we need, right? We need, a lot of times there's nobody there for that cross. And we've been seeing it more and more these days, that somebody's actually there when the cross comes in. So. And
Lacazette is really thriving in this the way that we're playing now, the style of play we have with Emile Smith-Rowe. Got to go to Tony, Alexandre Lacazette, and your predictions at the beginning of the season are looking spot on, Tony.
I had him scoring more than Buba. I had him scoring 22 goals. I think he'd be there if he didn't get benched. To start off the season, he had 3 goals in 3 games, and he gets benched for 80 for whatever reason. Like Stan said, Laka hasn't had the run of games like Pepe hasn't. It's hard to do your best when start, stop. They need a consistent run of games and see what they got.
Alonso, 3 points in the bag, and we jumped above Southampton in the table. A good night's work beating Southampton 3-1.
Yeah, it was awesome. I want to touch on Cedric a little bit. I think that the reason why Arteta got him when he did is because he was looking for a fullback that could play both positions, and so I think that worked out best for both parties. And I think that it was a total team effort because we needed all team. But this went on. If we're gonna make a run at top four, we need everyone to contribute. And I think that when Sam talked about earlier, when Stan talked about earlier with Holden and Luis, I think it's a big. There's certain players that Holden can play with. However, David Luis is not one of them, unfortunately. Other than that, it was just a good team effort. And I think that what Luis does well is communicate from the back. And I think that when you have that leadership and experience, that's one of his strengths. And I think we got to appreciate that from him. Other than that, I think that Xhaka had a good game. I think that he finally gets it where, like I said before, he lacked that partner that was able to play to his weaknesses, and he's finally played to his strengths, And so I think everything that we wanted and the whole team kind of worked out for all of the fans. I think that we've been dying for this kind of performances and get a string of games in, and I think it worked out in Arteta's favor finally.
Yeah, Sam, pretty much the gamble paid off for Arteta. He took a difficult decision, which some of us took umbrage to. I mean, myself as well. I would have liked to have defended the FA Cup, but didn't go for us at the weekend with 3 points, and Arteta's vindicated.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out well in the end, right? Because if we hadn't won that game, then questions would start to be asked again. But yeah, this is the plan he had, and it worked out. And okay, good. I'm glad for him, and it worked out well. And yeah, it's we got our 3 points. We got our momentum back, and now we've got the big job on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to get into that one next. Gary, add another 4.5% to the kitty. We got 45% accrued, close to halfway, and we played one game more than the halfway point. So we're starting to claw back the ground we lost in October and November.
Yeah, I mean, yes, and that's good to see. I mean, we needed that. I mean, we had a lot of blips coming into December, right? So we've been able to, I think, steer the ship in the right direction. So hopefully this is our form now. We know what our starters are, and if we can stay healthy, it'd be good to see. I mean, there was one thing that Alonso was talking about that I don't know what other panelists' thoughts was that the pairing of Holding and Luis.
Yeah.
Holding had a really good game. He pretty much, I believe, cleared up a lot of Luis's messes. But when he played with Gabriel, to me, it didn't seem like it clicked for some reason. I don't know. Was that more Gabriel, or was that just Holding not, what was the difference? To me, it seemed like there was a difference between the two of them. Between those two those two combos.
I think it's like Gabriel's communication with Holding. I think I don't know, but I noticed it too, where the combination between Holding and Gabriel doesn't really work well together, and I don't know if it's communication or his lack of English on Gabriel's part. I don't know, but I caught it too.
But the when Holding recovered for Luis, that had nothing to do with communication. That had to do with just like backing at your partner, right? I mean, because Luis messed that ball. Luis just fluffed on it. Was for me, it was like, wow. And Holding was there to clean it, basically clean it up, and that's steer us away from danger at that point. So that's why, not that it was I don't know what I'm just wondering. It just didn't seem like the combo worked for me in the previous Southampton game.
So, yeah, exactly. Ray Anderson said Pepe hasn't gotten a lot of chances already. I think he's got chances, but they've been sporadic, and I kind of agree with what Stan is saying. Give him a run inside. He's going to give you some product. He's going to give you some end product. I believe it. If he's playing with Emile Smith-Rowe, Lacazette, and Saka, there's no way he can't prosper with those players in the team. There's going to be a debate whether Martinelli or Pepe will go in that spot on
But
Saturday.
I mean, if Aubameyang was around, we wouldn't even probably have this discussion, right? Because
Correct.
it would be Aubameyang playing on Saturday and probably playing on
What I
Tuesday
do
and
like,
then playing on Saturday, and we wouldn't even have the discussion.
What-
So he
what
did
I-
get his chance, right?
what I
But-
do like though, Gary, is that Aubameyang has personal difficulties that he has to take care of, but the squad is able to pick up for him and go and get that win, get the 3 points, and that is a good sign in of itself, right?
I think we're better without. I think we're better without Aubameyang. To be brutally honest,
Yeah, I mean,
the way
may well be the
the way we
case.
play. Well, the way we play together, that front three without him, Martinelli, Lacazette, and Saka plays better. They're better without him, unfortunately.
All right, Tony, give us your man in the match from Southampton game.
Saka.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. He's a great player. In his second season, where you would see possibly a drop off in the players' development, that may well happen. He may well lose some form. But anyone else want to talk about Saka as their nomination, or if they have
I
another?
mean, I actually thought Cedric basically was the player for me because I believe that if we got a similar performance when Kieran Tierney was out, then it would have been a totally different game, and I think he kind of helped solidify that back line, and that made the difference. I think in the game for me, if he didn't come out and do what he's done in the past, and do it even better on Tuesday, I felt Saka, to me, he's been consistent all. I like him, I love him, right? He's been consistent all along.
Mhm.
But I just think in this game, Cedric deserves to get a little bit of credit for the way the game went as well, because we needed it. We didn't coming into that game. If you said Kieran Tierney's going to be out, we thought we were going to struggle a little bit, and we won 3-1. Right, so that's just my thinking on it.
Mhm.
I don't know what anybody else's thoughts were.
Anyone else man in the match? Alonso, you want to nominate Saka as well?
No, I'm gonna nominate. I know this is gonna kill Tony and Gary and Stan and everybody else. I'm gonna say Shaka.
Yeah,
I thought he put
Tony shaking his head.
I thought he put a good game in, and I think that he's done pretty well since Party's been back. I think that he deserves a lot of credit. I think that. Sure, he's not the greatest midfielder ever, but I mean, he put a good shift in.
I think there's some merit to that, Alonso. I mean, he's developing a relationship with Partey, whether it may be a deferral. Partey, you're the better player. I'm going to pass it to you. Sam or Stan want to jump in?
About
I mean,
Like
Shaka
and Partey
Shaka's played a lot.
developing.
Yeah, Shaka plays well with Partey. I mean, Partey gives Xhaka more freedom to do the things he wants to do, whereas he can get forward a little bit more and start passing the ball forwards a little bit more. Yes, so that is good. Yeah, but he still makes too many errors for me. I mean, he didn't so much in the Southampton game. I mean, I've got to give credit where it's due. The Southampton game, he did have a solid game. I just personally think. Both Cedric and Saka had better games. They had more of a contribution.
What we're seeing, Sam, is accomplished players in our side are kind of masking the deficiencies in some of our players, and we don't see the mistakes as much. As possible.
Yeah, I've always said that the less I have to talk about is Xhaka and Hector. And that's happened in the last 6 games. We really have to talk about them at all, unless we've had some injuries or something like that, because they just kind of blend in, and their mistakes or their lack of whatever they're doing on the field doesn't show itself as much. So, it's like the the other 5 or 6 players are building up the team strength, so such that if there is a blip from any of the players, it doesn't hurt us as much. Right? If we have to depend on Xhaka, we're in trouble, right? We know that.
Yeah, not solely dependent on him to carry us. Shout out to Darren here, watching and enjoying, and get with the likes, guys, and subscribe. We're going to flip this over to the Manchester United game now. We've got momentum, and I was sort of gassing up a Manchester United guy, a fan on a podcast like this week, warned him about momentum because he was going on about momentum. We've got it. Well, if you don't go to these games with the right application, the right attitude, and you're going to play a Sheffield United team who will take it to you if there's any kind of drop off in your level of performance, then you're going to get a result like Sheffield United 2, Manchester United 1. We do not want that to happen to us on Saturday. United will come. Who thinks United will come with a backlash on Saturday?
Well, form always goes out the window. There's a few games we play every season where form, it doesn't matter. We could have won 10 games 10-0 in a row. Doesn't matter because, Manchester United are always up for playing against us. It's the same with the North London derby. Even if we're a lot better than Tottenham, they give it their all. It's their cup final, So form doesn't really matter for this game. It's all about who plays, who gives it all on the day, who does best on the day. Because, like I said, we've got plenty of examples before where we're thinking Manchester United are not looking very good. This is our chance to beat them. We're looking better. And then we just come out of the game with a draw or a loss. It's happened a few times the last, few years since Ferguson left. So, it's one of those fixtures on the calendar where, it's all about what happens on the day. And it's going to be a great match because I think they're looking good at the moment. Their players are in form. If you don't, of course, they had a little blip against Sheffield United, but their players have been playing well lately. Our players have been playing well. So it does bode for a good game.
One thing I got to say is the disgraceful amount of abuse that player got. Racial abuse, there's no place for that in society at all. Manchester United, I won't even call out Manchester United supporters because this is not a team problem. This is a society problem, and it needs to be stopped, and it's disgraceful. The player is having a bad game. You give him the rightful amount of criticism for his performance, but not on a racial standing, and that's to be abhorred, and there's no place in society for that. Sam, do you think we will get a free-flowing game on Saturday, or do you think it'll be more like Ole would take a draw and Arteta would probably be happy with a draw? How do you see the game panning out for us?
Is it me or Stan?
Sam.
Oh, okay. I think we're going to see a more open game than we normally do because I think they're going to want to attack us and score goals, and I think we want to do the same. I think it's going to be a very good midfield battle if Partey. I just hope we've got some of our players fit. I know Partey and Smith Rowe, they went off against Southampton. We need them. We really need them back fit against United. I hope they make it because I would love to see Partey, in the midfield there against Pogba and Bruno. It would be really good, and I think it's going to be quite an open game. To be honest, I can actually see a few goals coming. That's in my opinion.
Yeah, Stan, what's your thinking about the game? Holding hasn't had a very bad game forever. He is becoming very solid. So there's a lot of love for Holding here.
Yeah, you're talking about Xhaka earlier. I'm more of the opinion that I know that he's had a couple of good games and that, but I want him to be a squad player. If we can't get rid of him, which is what I want. Do you know what I mean? Because as far as I'm concerned, after the Crystal Palace game, he shouldn't be anywhere near Arsenal. And the redemption of Xhaka, for me, was just a lot of bullshit. You know what I mean? But if you're going to keep him around, right, why can't we just have him as a squad player?
I think he will next season.
I'd rather have El Neni in there. And I'll tell you the reason why. It's no matter if Granit Xhaka has a couple of good games here and there, he has shown us that he is inconsistent. Do you know what I mean? When has he ever put a run together of 5 good games?
Never.
Do you know what I mean? He
loses his head. He loses his head as well, doesn't he?
That's the scary part about this weekend's game, right? Because the last time we played them, Holden and Gabriel both had stinkers in that game. We got lucky that they didn't get their second yellow. We Xhaka, as you said, is due, right? He's due for a little slip up, right? So
Yeah.
when is it going to happen? Is it going to happen in the biggest game we've got going on right now?
David Luiz is more due.
Right. Right. So if Luis plays, if Gabriel plays, we'll see, right? Which one? But just like you said, the form or his form is always a blip, bloop, and then it continues on. And
you can't trust it. You can't say, "Oh, yeah, really good game, we put him in again," because he's very prone to having a stinker. But looking at the Man United squad as well, the thing is with Man United, it's like they've got some very good players in their squad. You can't deny that. But the question is that I don't know, do they want to play for their manager? Have they got players that maybe don't want to be there? I don't know. It all depends on what kind of mood the squad are going to turn up, because I'm not sure that Ollie really has that much tactical influence on what's going on. To be honest, it looks a little bit out of his his depth a little bit.
What he's really done is given the right players the right chances in the team.
A group of individuals, but there's no cohesion there as a team, right? So you're going to hope that all of the individuals are going to perform on the day. If you're the Man United, looking at it from the Man United side, but I'm all for looking at a formation now that we've got Martin Odegaard coming in, where we have maybe not for this game because he might not be fit enough to start, but moving forward, where we have Partey in the front of the back four, and I'd like to see Emil Smith-Rowe and Odegaard ahead in certain games. I think we could maybe get away with that, having them both on the pitch at the same time. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily have to. I don't think it's a case that it's going to be either or every single time. Once Odegaard is up fitness-wise, you may even see him playing in the squad at the same time. And it's unfortunate that Odegaard's not maybe going to be up to speed and may only have a cameo for this match, because we're playing at home, and I think that's a ballsy formation to have both of them in there. And then that gets rid of all of the other questions, isn't it? There's no Ceballos in there. There's no Xhaka in there. There's no Elneny in there. And for me, in the midfield, all three of those players, they have some good days, but there's so much inconsistency with every single one of them players. I would actually say that the most consistent one out of that three is Elneny. Because if he does have an off day, it's never less than a 6.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like a 6 or 7 guy, right? On his good days, he's a 7. On his bad days,
is that what's it called? It's like
Duracell buddy.
It's like a Duracell buddy. He just keeps ticking over. Doesn't he? He just keeps doing the same thing.
And
just keeps
I
doing the same
remember
thing again and again and again.
I think Arteta will remember the 1-0 win at Old Trafford. Elneny was key to helping us close that game. We all remember seeing that on Twitter, the footage of him chasing the ball down in the 94th minute.
I was just about to say, out of those ones that I mentioned, he would be the one who would still be chasing balls down in like the 93rd minute.
He's got that attitude. That's good.
Yeah. Elneny Esta, it'll be him right there.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
See you later, Alonso.
Head and Alonso.
See you guys.
All right, take care.
See you later, Alonso.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Mummy.
And that's how you steal the show. That's how you steal the show.
Alonso doesn't want her to get all her.
On something that Sam said, and I think it might have been Steve Denham in the chat box. And it is a very good point, because talking about what I said about Man United and about having individuals, sometimes I feel like that about Aubameyang. And you said something earlier, Sam, about that you feel that we sometimes play a bit better without him. Yes, he can score goals. He can score goals, but we've seen that when obviously now I think it's obvious that some of his bad body language over the last month or so, we now know that there's been a lot more going on, as well as a bad run of form. Right?
Yeah.
He's had a bad run of form, and he's had this, because even that, what was one of those interviews that he'd done before the match?
That's before the North London derby.
Yeah, he was all like, and you were thinking, this guy looks like we now know that there was obviously in his family something that was, quite serious. And meanwhile, the guy's still having to go to work.
Exactly.
Doing his job. And his job is being sometimes put in front of fucking TV cameras, right?
Yeah, we could see he was off, right, all the time. We could see he wasn't right.
But getting back to, even when he's up and firing and the way that we set up. So What are you guys of the opinion now? If Aubameyang was to come back into the team, and Lacazette's been having a good run of form of late, are you going to put him on the left-hand side with a Lacazette through the middle, or do you want to say, well, no, we'll have to sacrifice Lacazette then? We'll play Aubameyang through the middle, and maybe we'll have someone else on the left-hand side.
No, I mean we all know who our starting four is up top when everybody's healthy, right? And Pepe isn't on there, and I believe it's either between Martinelli or Aubameyang on the left. Otherwise, the other three spots are taken, right?
Yeah.
So depending on,
do you think Aubameyang through the middle, those couple of games that we got,
No, it didn't work.
That was just
he wasn't right. He wasn't right, and the distribution wasn't right. It wasn't right. What I would really like to see, I mean, I agree. Let's stick to what's working, right? Because it's working. I don't think we should change that very much at the moment. But I must admit, something that is piquing my interest is I would like to see Aubameyang in the middle with that, what we was talking about, what Stan's talking about, which I think is absolutely perfectly viable, is having Ødegaard and Smith Rowe playing together in front of Partey. Now, if you've got Ødegaard and Smith Rowe being able to play Aubameyang in behind the back four and those through balls in what he needs, that could potentially be deadly, really deadly. If Aubameyang finds some form again and starts finding the goal again, that could really be deadly. I mean, because that's the type of balls he wants, those through balls in behind the defense. He's not a link up player like Lacazette does. So you have to have Aubameyang on the shoulder of the defenders going in behind. But when you got Ødegaard and you got Smith Rowe, putting those balls in behind there, finding those passes, threading those those passes in behind. That could really, really be interesting. I'd really like to see that. And I, like Stan said, and this is something a lot of different Spanish media and that say, listen, they think Ødegaard and Smith Rowe can play together because Ødegaard, he is a very, very, he's got high energy. He can press. He can do a good defensive job in midfield as well as be creative. So, he can, like with what Smith Rowe does basically. So, you don't have to back off and have a Xhaka there, holding. You can use Ødegaard to press as well. And I think that could be really interesting.
Gail has just highlighted a very good midfield battle that could be here. Pogba versus Thomas. And I know, Stan, you want to get in with another point, so just weave it in there. You're a professional.
I was going to say, also as well, I think that you're going to see perhaps when Ødegaard comes into the team, and if that happens with them and ESR, even on paper, the starting formation may show that Aubameyang's on the left. It wouldn't surprise me if you're going to see him really playing as a two with Lacazette, and you'll see Tierney pushing up higher on the left-hand side, and it will go to more of a 3 or 2 at the very back. Do you know what I mean? To cover.
Yeah.
And so you can't always sometimes be fooled when you see, you look onto the game and you think, I wonder what the starting lineup is, and you see what was put out. Sometimes you have to, especially with Arteta and a lot of managers now, you almost play with 2 formations, right? You have one formation when you're off the ball, and another formation when you're on the ball. It's not
hybrid, yeah.
You're not like 4-4-2 with the 2 wingers and the 2 in the middle and the 2 strikers. So. I think what Sam said was spot on. I mean, Jesus Christ, there's no excuses for anyone who plays ahead of 2 in midfield of Ødegaard and ASR. There's no way you can say, well, I'm not getting the service.
And the other thing is I'm happy to see that, our best 11 players are getting to play. For like many, many years, at least in the last couple of years, I've always wondered, why don't we just get our best players out there in positions? Hopefully they fit. And we're at the point now where we can put all our best players on the field and nobody will actually be out of position, which it's been a while. It's been a long time coming where we can actually say, what? Here's 11 players out there. None of them are really out of position, and they all can succeed if they follow the, follow the process, right?
And Stan has asked the question, when will we see Granit Xhaka out of the lineup? It's probably going to be next season, Stan, when we do get a midfielder in. Yeah, please God, right? Stan, what are you drinking? Darren wants to know.
It's the same every week, lads. It's always the same. I'm one of those guys that when I find something, I stick to it. Do you know what I mean? It's a Canadian, local Vancouver, Red Truck IPA. And yeah,
looks good.
Gary?
Nice taste.
Today I'm going back. This is my favorite beer.
Oh, Boddingtons.
Yeah.
Oh, fancy.
This is my favorite.
Boddingtons.
Yeah, I couldn't find any in the shop, so I haven't been able to.
That's Manchester, isn't it? Boddingtons.
Yeah.
I think it's Manchester, isn't it? Yeah.
Strangeways Brewery.
Bloody Manchester beer. Bloody hell.
I'm sorry, but I like it. I don't care.
That's quite surprising though, to see someone from over in the States and they're like,
Yeah.
"It's like
on my business travels, I was in Toronto, and the hotel I was staying in, the bar had Boddingtons on tap, and I spent a week there before I go back home. I think I drank probably about 75-80% of that tap.
75 or 80.
That's where I went after work. They're like, Gary, we can't order it again because you're the only one that drank it. I was like, oh. Well.
Gail is, so let's get into the lineup, what we think. Gail's got it here, I think. Alba or Martinelli on the left, Saka or Pepe on the right. And definitely Saka, right? Lacazette up top. I think that's pretty safe stuff. Neil Smith-Rowe, hopefully he comes back. He's very important to the way we're going to be able to play on Saturday. Central defense, I like Holding and Pablo Mari. Tony?
Gabriel and Holding.
Stan?
Sorry?
Who's your two centre backs for Saturday?
See, this is the thing, right? Gabriel was doing so well for us, the amount of match awards that he had, and then he was ill and a little bit out of form. But I'm always like, well, if he's sort of like playing so well and he might be a little bit out of form, how does he get back into form by just being on the bench?
Yeah, exactly.
Back into form just by training and being on the bench, he's going to have to put him back in. So for me, it's got to be Gabriel or Pablo Mari with Holding, you know, because those two left-footed centre-backs, they seem to be it's good to see that we have competition for that space.
What worries me is Gabriel has not played now in 6 games, I think. So I would like to go with Pablo Mari, who's been pretty instrumental in this run. This month of January has been pretty good to us. 4 wins and 1 draw, Sam.
Yeah, exactly. We're in some decent form. We've got a decent run to put together. And yeah, my centre-back pairing would be if Gabriel's ready to go, I'll put Gabriel back in there with Holding. I think they can do a good job. Gabriel, if he, I think, you know what, I think Gabriel's up for big games. You know, he's got that big game mentality.
Yeah.
You know, you could see those first 6-7 games of the season. He was just immense. You know, he was absolutely incredible. So he's got it in his head. He'll get himself motivated. He could put in a good performance, I think, on Saturday. Gabriel's that type of guy. If he's ready to go, get him in there. Holding's been playing well lately. Stick those two together. Yeah. Luis had a bad game, I think, against Southampton, and like you guys say, we're just waiting for that blip to happen, like with Xhaka as well.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I like
to think, hard, isn't he?
Yeah. No, I was saying I'd like to think that Holding and Gabriel want to redeem themselves from the last Manchester United game that we played. So if they were to look at that tape and come into this game, and realize some of the things that I think where Manchester was able to put a little bit of pressure on them. Hopefully I'd like to have them see how they do the second time around, knowing what they know and knowing where we are as a team.
I wonder who the referee is if we're going to have Mike Dean again. That'd be nice.
I've also noticed that Callum Chambers was on the bench for the last game as well. So he's fit and able, but I don't know if I would stick him straight back in a fixture of this nature.
No, probably not.
Sambo said, if you remember, I kept saying Arsenal shouldn't re-sign Aubameyang. Martinelli should be centre forward. Aubameyang misses a lot of one-on-ones. I used to watch in Germany. Martinelli, I think, is the future down the centre.
Yeah, we couldn't have done that with Martinelli not coming back
There's
until
Tanner.
maybe January, right? I mean,
Yep.
that was kind of the. Can you guys hear me? I don't know.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
You're
All
good.
right. Yeah.
Earlier in the podcast, I was doing this.
Sorry.
Now the $1 million question: who's after Urlacher? Is it going to Eddie or Balogun? Tony.
I'd go with Balogun. Eddie's,
Yeah, if we can convince him to stay, but that does not look likely at all. Stan's not going to like this, but we may be persevering with Eddie a little bit. And we've noticed Eddie's minutes have dropped down as well. He's not been getting on as much. Hang on. Did Stan just pronounce Odegaard name correctly? Erdegaard?
The God.
Yeah,
Erdegaard.
that's the same, right? I know a little bit.
Erdegaard.
I heard Sam say it.
Yeah.
We should have.
The two A's are pronounced with the or, right, Sam?
Yes, the God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or you can have the A with the little thing over it, right?
Yeah, its name's it's actually an A with a circle on the top. That's the or
You've
sound.
got like more letters in the alphabet, right? About another 3 or 4.
Yeah, we got 3. Yeah, 3 extra. Yeah.
Okay. So what was the question?
That was a Norwegian lesson for this evening.
Oh, sorry. We were sidetracked about fucking
We
Norwegian.
should have started the podcast out with Erdegaard. All right.
Sorry, yes, he was asking me about the strikers and that, and about Eddie, and
Yes.
I don't. I mean, for me personally, I've seen a lot of Eddie now. Maybe too much Eddie, but there's been certain games where a dead rubber game in the Europa League. That's surely a game where you give someone like Balogun minutes.
What is Tanner saying? I don't know. What's a low black? Because I've never seen that formation. Is that something new?
The low block.
It's a low black. You haven't seen a low black?
No.
Listen,
What is
Tanner,
that? You
Have you
guys
only
say
seen a
that?
high? Have you only seen a high black?
Hello.
Gary.
You can get
Gary,
cancelled.
I'm quite used to this because my wife always does talk to text, and it comes out so weird. You just have to think on your feet. You know what I mean? Yeah. But good point by Tanner there. Don't rule out the possibility of Emil Smith-Rowe and Erdegaard, Partey against the likes of Burnley, and in the low block, and try a counter with 3, maybe 4 players.
Yeah. When is the Burnley game? How far away do we have to wait for that?
I'll show you right there.
Oh, that's too long. They got to play sooner than that, don't they?
Yeah, we don't.
Yes.
I mean, Leeds might be the next team we could do that against.
Yeah,
I'm not there. Go ahead, Stan.
Yeah, I'll just I can't remember what I was even saying now. What is it?
Well, was it still the strikers? Are you still on that one?
I just
The Swedish chef got you.
What's your predictions for Saturday? Who do you think will win, Stan?
I think we've got a win in us. Yeah, at home. I think we've got a win in us. I don't know what the score's going to be, but I fancy us to get 3 points.
For me, it's very dependent on who we've got fit, ready to go. Unfortunately, because I think there's a big difference in who we line up with. If we can line up with most of the ones the regulars that have been playing well lately, I think we'll have a chance. I think we could have a victory in us, 2-1, maybe even a 3-1, something like that again. But if we've got no Smith Rowe, Erdegaard's probably not going to be ready to play. He'll probably be in the match day squad, maybe, or maybe he won't. Maybe they'll wait until the next game. And if Partey's not ready in midfield,
Partey now has he picked up another niggle or something?
Yeah, he went off against Southampton.
Yeah,
kind of strain.
I understand that the news on him is pretty decent, that he could play.
Yeah, I hope so. It's him and Smith Rowe, hopefully, and Martinelli as well. But listen, if we can play with all of them, if we can play with all of them, I think we've got a good chance. If not, if we have to see the likes of Willian and no Partey in midfield, it's going to be more of a struggle.
And what about Kieran Tierney? I'm sure that he had a bit of a niggle, but I saw a video where it was 3 players that sort of below fitness were training together. It was Dennis Ceballos, Kieran Tierney, and Martin Odegaard, and they were all kind of they were all training together. When they were passing to each other and then finishing in one of them small goals. and they were all running around fairly well. So I think it seems pretty obvious, right, that all of the good things, the majority of it this season is all coming through Kieran Tierney, right? So I think it's really important that he's going to be ready for that game.
Yeah,
And
I'm hoping.
Or Saka on the right.
I'm hoping that.
But a lot of
balance
has been coming from Tierney, man. I mean, he's a left back for fuck's sake, and there's times when he's like skinning players like a world class winger.
He's not a left back, Stan. He's Superman. He's Super Tierney. He's no left back. He's way more than that.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, based on our health, I'm expecting worst case scenario we tie, because I feel like Manchester United might be a little, maybe a little mental strain going on right now with the way the game is going, and then
I would love to do the double for the first time since the 2006-2007 season.
Put some pressure on Maguire. He's fucking shit.
Yeah.
Put some pressure on him.
If you do that with Balogun, right? That's why Balogun should be out there, because then you can do something like that.
Thanks to Tanner, we know Michael Oliver is the official, so I'm actually okay with that. But
he's not the worst.
Watch him give a couple of penalties now to United. All right, let's switch tact a little bit. Gary, our January window. How do you rate our window? Outgoings, incomings. I'm pretty darn happy with it. I got to say, we moved a couple of players on. A mega god almost moved on, Fenerbahce, and we got a player in Odegaard.
Yeah, I mean, the January window. Can you hear me? The January window.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep saying that because I don't know if you can hear me, but the January windows are really small, right? So we're not expecting much. The two key elements that we wanted to, or spots that we wanted to fill, were a second goalie, right? Number 2 goalie, and some support for at least for me, Emile Smith-Rowe. We definitely needed a backup to Kieran Tierney, but the chances of that were going to be pretty slim, right? We wanted a right back. That's not going to happen. So those 2 spots, I think, we weren't. If we could get one, we would, but I don't think we have the money to do it. So those 2 are off. We did let some players go. Some players did leave, or we paid them off. So that's a plus. So wouldn't that be a really good score based on what we need? We needed those 2 positions. We got them. We got a backup for Emile Smith-Rowe. We got a backup for Leno. 2 of the key things that we needed to do. Cedric actually showed us that, it's okay for now. We have a backup there. And he can play both sides, so we kind of got that sorted. We need to. So to me, it's, I don't know. I guess I can't give it a 10 because we didn't go out and spend tons of money, but it's either an 8 or a 9, right, in terms of ranking, right? So we got what we wanted to do. We weren't going to do any more, but we got 2 players out, right? The biggest of all, right?
Yeah.
We don't even have to deal with that anymore. So that should by itself give us a point or 2 on our ranking.
What's even more impressive is the way that club seems to be moving in the last couple of weeks. That we went out and we got a backup goalkeeper that we didn't even know pretty much was happening. It got done very, very quickly. Sam?
Yeah, that just came out of the blue, didn't it? That was like it was on the Saturday or something like that. I can't remember now, but it was it was over the weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was during the weekend, and there was all this talk about Odegaard and all what's going on there, and all of a sudden Matt Ryan is signing. All the pictures, the pictures were up and everything. He was there. It was all done and dusted. And like, what? How did that happen? Where were all the in the knows there? Where was Fabrizio Romano and Charlie Watts and these other guys there? I mean, they didn't get that one, did they? That was interesting. But yeah, I think he's a fantastic signing, to be honest, because Matt Ryan is a good goalkeeper. I think he's been hard done by at Brighton. I don't think their current goalkeeper is better than him, in my opinion. I think he could actually push Leno a bit. He's not quite at Leno's level, but he's close, in my opinion. He's quite close, and he's a very good. I mean, in terms of backup goalkeeper, I don't think we could have got a better deal, to be honest, because not only is he good, but look at the terms of the deal, right? He's on a loan, and he's at the end of his contract, so we can pick him up for free in the summer. I mean, it's amazing. It's a really good deal. Edu and his team have done a really good deal there. That's they've got to give him credit where it's due there. And yeah, this window's been about, like we said, we knew the window was going to be more about getting rid of the players we don't need. We've got to move on those players, not only to try and recuperate any money we can, which we haven't really done so far, but it's about clearing the books, getting the wage bill into shape. And it's also getting rid of the players that are, a bad influence, bad eggs.
Yeah.
Ozil was a bad egg. He really was. It was great to finally get rid of him, and it was good to move on the other guys who weren't really going to be playing. Socrates goes back to Greece. I think that's a nice move for him, back to Olympiacos. We managed to get a deal for Kolasinac, who was, wasn't really doing well for us, was he? It was good
quite
to get rid
early
of
in the
him.
window. Yeah.
And, so we moved on some good players and some, I think there was a couple of loans that have been arranged as well. And yeah, it was just good to get those players out. And then the two players really we brought in, I think, are very good, very shrewd deals. I mean, I don't think, listen, I know we've got to see how Ødegaard does in the Premier League. We know the story, big names, big players from abroad comes to the Premier League, doesn't really work. We all know that potential there. Hopefully, it's going to be good for Ødegaard. But the deal, you look at the deal. The deal itself is fantastic. It's just we're just paying a nominal fee for the loans, about £2.5 million. His wages he doesn't have big wages because he's not a prima donna. He's only on about £40,000 a week. £38,000 a week that we're paying, which is fantastic. And then we've got him until the summer, so it works both ways. Remember, I mean, we're all like, oh, we should have loaned him for longer and had an option to buy and blah blah blah. Well, think about Ceballos and that. It's good to have that option where we don't, if it doesn't work out with Ødegaard, we can just give him back. I think that's also something we need to remember. But I do think that if Ødegaard, just to finish my point, I do think that if Ødegaard does work well for us and he plays well, I think he'll want to stay. I don't think he'll want to give that up if it's working well. And I think we could do a good deal with Real Madrid for Ødegaard. So I think that could work out. So overall, I think the window has been in terms of the shrewd deals, getting the players out, getting the deadwood out, I think we've had a very, very good window. Yeah,
I think Norwegian players do settle in quite well into the Premier League. They have a work ethic.
Yes, it's because of the culture. Norway has a very close-knit culture with the UK. It goes back to the Second World War and also the First World War as well. And the Premier League is huge here. It is huge. Everybody watches the Premier League every game. It's huge here. They grow up with it as kids. So they love the Premier League.
Yeah, Tony, in terms of our window and Edu moving fast and getting what we need in the house, how many past seasons would we be confident we would have done this kind of business? Cover for Emile Smith-Rowe, which is necessary to protect him from injury, and he may even play alongside him in some situations. Cover for our goalkeeper, Runnerson, who is throwing balls in the net. And we've actually found Cedric to be quite a serviceable cover for Tierney when the occasion arises. But more than that, we've moved a high-profile player on, and we're spending a lot of money on every week. And, Kolasinac, too.
Yeah, it's nice to give the players out.
Also, right?
Yep. It's nice to give the players out. Probably be a 10 if we get Colonel Mustard out too, but
you know what? I think Cedric. Just one quick little thing. Sorry to interrupt, but I think Cedric playing well now against Southampton. I think that's given Arteta sort of an idea that we're not desperate for a left back right now. Yeah. We're not desperate. We can wait. We can wait till the summer.
And how many games really is Kieran Tierney going to miss? If we need to sort of help him along and let him play in the snow with his short sleeve shirts and all that stuff.
He's the only player that could be out playing in the snow, but he's still injured. What? I mean, what's going on?
He's making a snowman.
He just ran
cast.
out Mount Everest, but you know what? He can't play on Saturday. He's still got it next. What?
And your final word on the January window?
My final word.
Yeah, your final word on the window.
About what we've done in January. Well, for me, I think personally, this is probably the best transfer window that I have ever experienced of an Arsenal player. And the reason why is that we eventually moved on Mesut Ozil.
Still got it, huh?
And Kolasinac. So, yes, I was
And still got it physically and metaphorically. You've still got it, Stan.
I just think that, you know, in order for the rebuild to start in earnest, you know, that was something that needed to be done. And I'm so glad that we managed to get it done now and it hasn't dragged on and been there festering for the rest of the season that's going to remain. You know, I look at it now as like a clean slate, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know, it's like when you have a divorce and that. Do you know what I mean? You go through that bit at the beginning where you're still living in the same house, but you're sleeping in different bedrooms and you're trying to plan going into the kitchen at different times.
Get your cereal. Yeah.
I feel like now I'm at the stage where it's like, thank fuck that cheating bitch has finally moved out. She's finally moved out. She's off staying with her mate somewhere. Now I can walk around the house in my boxer shorts and watch football and drink beer. So, relaxing, that cloud is gone. So I'm really, really happy about that. And obviously as well with the Odegaard thing, I think it's been ages since I've been this excited about a loan signing. And I'm not going to say it's because I've watched him his whole career. It's only because I've gone out of my way to watch quite a few documentaries about him. And what I've really picked up on as well is that everybody that seems to have worked with this kid speaks of him very, very highly. And, you know, just listening to him speak in interviews as well, he's got a good head on him. And I was worried that we were going to maybe ask too much of Emile Smith-Rowe, you know, and I think maybe that's where we went wrong with Hector Bellerin. Hector Bellerin came into the Arsenal team at quite young, and he's played a hell of a lot of games for us when he was quite young. And, you know, it could be that he's a little burnt out or a little bit stale. And I don't want to see us make a similar mistake with someone like a Martinelli, a Saka, or an ESR. So I'm glad that someone like Odegaard's come in. And, you know, when I was listening to loan deals of players like Christian Eriksen and Isco, I was just like, is this really it? Is this what they're trying to wow me with?
Underwhelming.
We're just getting rid of Ozil and you want to bring in Isco? To me, it was just like a much of a muchness. So to bring in someone like Odegaard, where I'm thinking, and like what Sam says, okay, there's no option to buy, but I'm glad that we haven't snookered ourselves in that corner, where it's like, oh,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. That could be a good thing, right? It could be a good thing.
And actually, you know, looking at it, maybe he doesn't quite fit in, but I'm fairly confident. This is a young kid, right? That was playing in the first team, in his first team in Norway at 15. No, 13. The one before that, the one in the village, or whatever it was. He was like,
but he played in the Norwegian Premier League at 15.
There you go, right? And he's obviously got something about him. And this is a guy that he's played in Norway. He's played in 2 different teams in the Eredivisie in the Netherlands, and he's played for a couple of teams now in Spain. You know, he looks like he's able to settle wherever he goes. Mm-hmm. He looks like he's able to fit in with these new faces, whether they're a lot older than him and have a lot more experience, and it doesn't inhibit him to have, you know, Player of the Month awards, Assist of the Season, things like that. He doesn't seem inhibited by it. So
something even better.
Now, a player like Emile Smith-Rowe, who's not really left our shores that much, he could actually learn something of Odegaard, even though he's quite young himself. Do you know what I mean? Because Odegaard's been around big, hairy-ass geezers in most of the teams that he's played in. You know, he's been away from his apron strings of his parents. He's well-travelled, and it sounds like he's got a good head on his shoulders. And I think that even though he's only 22 years old, ESR could maybe learn something off of him as a personality, but also as well the style of play. I mean, the way that Martin Odegaard seems to play in the videos that I've watched, it makes me feel quite moist. So, you know, if he can learn all of these things, I've got to say, I just feel, I don't know what it is, but I've just got a feeling that this could be a really good thing. And it's been a while since I've had a really good feeling about something. So I'm not going to dumb it down. I'm not going to put the gloom all over it. I want to enjoy it and hope that it works out. Maybe I'll have my face at the end of the season.
Of course,
I've got my fingers crossed on this one.
me too.
Yeah.
I think it could be a very, very good situation for us. And of course, option to not buy doesn't mean that we can't bid. We're not able to bid for the player at the end of his loan term. And we're going to have the opportunity to obviously sell the club to him as well. He's going to be ingrained in the Arsenal family. I'm sure some of the players are going to gel with him as well, and he's going to become part of the fabric of Arsenal, because that's what happens. And when you come to Arsenal, you get infected by the bug.
I was going to say the Erdegar situation. I know I destroyed it, but
Yeah.
the fact that we spent 2.5 million and then 38,000 a week on him, that kind of disappoints me in the sense that why isn't Balogun already signed up if he's what they want? I don't know why he wouldn't be, but why? Because if you can spend whatever that is, what is that, 3 or 4 million at the end of the day? Why can't you get Balogun in and spend the same amount for the next 4 or 5 years or whatever it costs to keep him going? Because that's a player also still trying to figure out and get themselves a little. I know he's got more experience, but I'm just saying this is somebody you've seen. He's grown up in the team, and so I'm like, I'll be disappointed to see him go, but I just feel like that could be potentially a good person to have on the team. Just be sad to see him go.
Yeah, definitely. The Assemble said, does anyone know how many of these loan deals of Deadwood will come back when their loan deals are over? Stan Martin, I think, made his debut in 2014, and he is 23 now.
Oh, he's 22.
Who?
He's 22. Who's he talking about? I don't know who he's talking about.
Rudiger.
No.
Me?
I heard
I
it was
never
22.
made a
It was
debut
22.
for Arsenal in 2014. Did I?
6 years? No, he's 6 years ago. What? It's just a little bit of a.
You said he's 22.
One thing, and thanks we brought Gail. He's come along to the channel as well. Hope you stick around for future podcasts as well, Gail. Good to have you in here. I sort of tagged you in on Twitter, and you fell into the trap, Gail, and you're here now.
Amen.
That's how it works. Mentioning Ceballos, AMN, yeah. There's news about AMN maybe going to West Brom or a top 4 club, possibly Liverpool or Leicester. Not enthusiastic about that. Stan, will he stay?
In a word, no. He's made it quite clear, right? From the very first day we were talking about getting him on loan, it was quite clear in the article that, he wants to be a Real Madrid player and he wants to go somewhere to raise his profile. He has extended his loan, and even when the loan was extended, he's said it a few times. So I don't expect Daniel Ceballos to stay. And it wouldn't bother me if he didn't stay, because for me, he's a squad player at best.
Yeah.
Again, and for the same reasons I mentioned earlier, he's an inconsistent player. I've seen him have some good games for Arsenal, but I've seen him have some games where, he's just attracted by the ball. He's dragged out of position. He turns the ball over. He kicks the ball out of play. I've seen all of these things, but I've seen him do some good stuff as well.
Yeah.
He has had many good games, though, to be honest, has he?
Yeah,
Really,
between them, you're right. The bad games actually outweigh the good ones as well.
Yeah.
So, Gail, you've come to a channel that it's an Arsenal channel, but it's a little different. We have a little different flavor. Everybody does, right? It's not. It is for everyone, right? But
one gal, we've all got our pants on.
Yeah.
There's no.
Wait a second. I'll be right back.
Are you sure? We haven't seen Gary from a waist down.
Did you say Gary? I'll be right back.
With belts and buckles or elasticated something.
Let me turn my camera off.
So I'll let Sam start off with this. Sam came to me with a topic. I said, "Yeah, sure, we'll throw it in here. Let's do it." Arteta Lampard.
Yeah, this is something that sort of came to me when the whole discussion around Lampard getting sacked, and eventually he got sacked. And I was just thinking, does this show, the difference between, the owners of our clubs and sort of, this whole
Yes.
comparison of our expectations for our clubs? Like, when I look at Arsenal, right, objectively as a fan, I think we're a bigger club than Chelsea. We're a bigger club. Got more history, got more fans, and for me, Arsenal, ideally, of course, I'm talking from an ideal perspective here, should be challenging, for trophies, should be challenging for honours. That's what we've traditionally done in the Premier League era, until, the last 10, 15 years. So, and that's when Chelsea came in, right? Abramovich came in and sort of took over. And, for me, I thought it was quite strange how, well, in my perspective anyway, how Lampard, which let's face it, I mean, he's pretty much, as a manager, pretty similar to Arteta, right? Inexperienced. He only had Derby, which didn't, let's put it this way, he didn't exactly do huge bits with Derby, did he, before he went to Chelsea? But he did get that season or a couple of seasons under his belt that enabled him to be hired by Chelsea and say, okay, he's a legend, he's been a manager, let's try him. And everyone said it's not going to work out well because he's not experienced, and he's got that huge squad with in terms of money, all those players, it was nearly £300 million, all the big names, and he's done basically the same as what Arteta's been doing. Playing players out of position, struggling with man management, favourites, Mason Mount playing every game. He's been doing a lot the same as what Arteta's been doing, and the fans have been on his back. And then eventually, Abramovich said, "Sorry, this isn't good enough," and they got the sack, and they're basically the same position we are. And then I'm just thinking, comparatively to Arsenal and Arteta, that's sort of, for me, in the terms of the media and the fan base, I just think it's rather interesting or fascinating how that just slipped by without anyone really thinking about the comparisons. Like, why is Arteta? Listen, I'm not trying to say Arteta should go or anything like that. No. I'm just talking in sheer comparative terms. Arteta's staying in the job. He's got the job. We've got confidence in him, there's progress, etc., even though we're down in, 8th, 9th. And Arteta gets a sack. They don't think he's doing well enough. And we're in my perspective, in my opinion, we're a bigger club. We should have more ambition. We should be thinking higher. And we're the one with the manager who's also an amateur, who isn't doing, that great either. And in terms of he's keeping his job, and we're thinking he's doing a good job. Well, Lampard got the sack. I'm just thinking that juxtaposition there. That juxtaposition there. What do you guys think about that? How do you guys see it?
Can I just take a pause?
Clockwise, we'll get to Stan last.
Yeah, can I just take a pause for this segment, because I just saw something in the chats.
Yeah.
Brownie said that this is a Arsenal Cardiff channel, so I wanted us to go have a little quick Cardiff segment. Cardiff is a team that runs around in the football field. All right, the end. All right, move on. Back to the Arsenal.
They play football. That's it. Yeah.
All right, Gary.
What do you guys think about that?
Got any Chelsea Arsenal chat? Gary,
can you guys hear me? All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to take it?
Yeah, let Gary go. Go on, Gary.
All right. I was gonna say it's hard to answer the question about the comparison between the two, because if Arsenal had money and they gave it to Arteta when he first got here, or at least in the beginning of the summer, would we be in the same situation as Chelsea based on who would have been spending that money? Because I think things have changed a lot over since the season has started, and things have looked better. We've had some injuries and whatnot have made things come about. So are we lucky that we didn't have all that money to spend, or is this part of the plan? I want it to be the plan, but it's still it's still early days for me. And
I
that's
just
kind
want
of
to
where
I just want to shoot in there about the money. Chelsea put all their money in just before this season, but we've put in the same amount of money over the last like 4 or 5 seasons. So money has been put into us as well, but the recruitment's been poor, obviously. Anyway, go on. Yeah.
well, no, I mean they put money in, but obviously they don't know how to use it. And case could be said for some of our players that we brought in, and we didn't use them the right way. We brought Pepe in, he's got some special skills, but he requires a special formation around him to make it work. And we just haven't done that. We want him to kind of come out of his shell a little bit and do a little bit more, and he won't do it. He won't do it. A lot of the things that we want him to do that he hasn't done in the past, he's just not going to do it. And now we require him to do more than just play with the ball at his feet and attack the goal. So he doesn't do that either. So that's and I think so for him, the structure has changed, and luckily enough, we've got players behind what was our starters coming into the season that actually can fit the mold now of what Arteta wants. So I think, so are we lucky? So for me, it's like, are we lucky or is it just a plan? I think Lampard had what looks like a lot of quality players around there, and even when they go to their bench, they still have quality players, and they still weren't able to get it done. So, he failed, right? That's a failure.
So
That's a failure. I mean,
Chelsea and Arsenal are 2 different clubs, right? Chelsea's got an oligarch who's funding all of these things. They can whip out all this money that they need. They had the ban where they couldn't buy anyone. They had the hazard money sitting in the bank, and they went out and spent all that money. And Arsenal, a lot of the younger Arsenal fans were thinking, holy crap, look at Chelsea. They've just gone and spent 250 million on 3 players. But did they buy these players adequately? Timo Werner been playing well in the Bundesliga. He's not able to score many goals now. Kai Havertz is not doing the job that he's really supposed to do, and maybe not in the system that's fitting them. And now we have Chelsea marketing people, and you think the Arsenal marketing is good, Gary. They're putting out videos of 20 passes strung together in a 0-0 draw against Wolverhampton Wanderers.
well, we're not pushing out football plays. We're pushing out clothes, right? So that's our marketing.
So,
I mean,
yeah, you've got Frank Lampard,
practice.
who's a club legend. I think sometimes the better the player you are, the worse the manager you can be. So Arteta was not one of our real legends as a player, but I think he's done a really, really good job under the circumstances. There's things that I want Arteta to do better, like see that the young players are better and put them in the squad, put them in the team and play. But Frank Lampard, we always knew this was going to come to a sad ending for Chelsea and Lampard. We always knew, like it or not, Arteta, the club was going to stick with Arteta through thick and thin. And I think this season is about developing the young players. And if we get 9th or 10th place, that's what it is. But we've developed a Saka, we've developed a Emile Smith-Rowe or Martinelli, and they're ready for next season. I know it always seems to be next season for Arsenal, but I do see the plan ahead. We've gone through the stages. Stage 1 of the rebuild, we've dubbed it as being defensively stable, and now you wouldn't have said this about Arsenal 5 or 6 years ago. We've got the second best defensive record in the Premier League, and I think we're only going to get better as the season drives on now. But Tony, I'll go to you next because I know Stan really, really is chomping to get in there on this one.
Stan was going to sleep over there, like everybody on the show over there.
Well, like me and my shade last week.
Yeah.
No yawning.
I'll put everyone to sleep. Nice. Yeah.
And Gail said, aha, the passes video was so dumb. And if you think the Arsenal marketing machine is dumb, this was really dumb from Chelsea. Tony?
Well, no, to me, 6 weeks ago, we were looking at Wolverhampton's getting Nuno from him and firing Arteta. We just kind of got lucky and went on form since he finally decided to trust the young players. I think the jury's still out on Arteta because he's stubborn, and I think he's more forced into the changes because of injuries and stuff than deciding to do now on his own.
And Stan.
So here's the first thing, right? I've got a new impression. I've got a Roman Abramovich impression that I've been working on. I think it's pretty spot on, to be fair, right? You'll think he's walked in the room, right?
Thanks, Gal.
A panel, right? Just to create the illusion, right? Can you all close your eyes and I'll do my impression? Because it's you know, if you see me, it doesn't work. So if you close your eyes. Did you like it? That was it. In all of the time Roman Abramovich has been owner of Chelsea, I swear to God, I've never heard him say one word. Not one word. Right? So my impression is pretty spot on.
Island Roman.
So what's going to happen with Chelsea? I put a tweet out, I think it was just yesterday, and I tweeted Chelsea football. Thomas Tuchel has been fired as the manager of Chelsea Football Club. And then I left a big gap, and then I put underneath, sorry, I'm just practicing for the end of the season.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that tweet. Yeah.
Because they say it's going to go down. You know, these guys, like, they change managers more times than I change my pants. You know what I mean? Or they probably changed it more time than Chick changes his pants, but that's another. I'll just say that. That was one for Brown. But they, you know, it's part of their MO. Now, I have to disagree 100% with what Sam said when he was making the comparison with Arteta and Fat Frank. The key difference is right. Fat Frank was handed 300 million when he walked in the door. He was given a huge chest of money. And also as well, Kai Havertz, that was a Chelsea buy. That wasn't Fat Frank saying, like, I want this guy. Chelsea said, here's the money. Oh, and we're going to buy you this geezer. That's almost like Arteta coming in and Stan Kroenke going, here's a load of money. Oh, and Kylian Mbappe on top. And Arteta's going, well, I didn't even ask for Mbappe. Bloody hell. So, you know, that's the key difference. And I suppose when he got a pass, didn't he, in his first season? Because it was all like, you know, he's just, you know.
Yeah, he got all this media love. And
pass, didn't he, the first season? You know,
playing all the youngsters. You got all the credit for playing the youngsters.
Exactly.
Well, guess what? They were forced into playing the youngsters. So,
exactly, you know. So I just think that it's a very different comparison. You'd have to say at the end of the day that Lampard coming in had more experience as a manager than Mikel Arteta. You know,
a little bit more.
Whether you rate what he did at Derby or not, he had time in the big chair, which Mikel Arteta hasn't, and he's been given the keys to the kingdom with a whole rake of money to spend, and the club proactively going out and buying excellent players from other leagues. And for whatever reason, you know, they deem that the investment's not being paid off. You know, and for Chelsea, I actually think they were quite lenient with Frank, and it's because of the stature that he has at the club.
Yeah.
And Roman Abramovich, you know, it's very rare for him to come out with his own personal, you know, statement to the leaving manager. He never does that. It's usually someone else within the club that announces it, but he was very front and center. You know, about, you know, he's a personal friend of mine, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, that's not Roman Abramovich. You know what I mean? You know, so, I think it's a world apart, you know, between the two managers. Because of what they've given. And maybe that might serve Mikel Arteta a little bit better. You know, sometimes when you've been given everything to you, you know, you've been given the easy route, right? You know, we all know that guy that, you know, you've been working in a company for years. And all of a sudden, the guy comes in and he's like, he's above you because he's shagging the boss's daughter or something. Or, you know, he's the boss's son or nephew or whatever, you know? Yeah. It's almost a little bit like Frank Lampard and Mikel Arteta. He's doing it the hard way. You know, we keep mentioning dead wood. You know, not only is he not being given any dough, you know, Thomas Partey withstanding, he's having to work with a lot of players that were already aware, well, I'm out of here anyway, you know, either the manager doesn't want me in his plans or my contract's up and it's out. So they're kind of like 1 foot out of the door, right?
Well, Gary and Tony have one fell out the door, and I'm trying to wind up the show a little bit earlier than 2 hours, so to save a little bit for the weekend coming up here. But
We're on the. Are we on the outro now? We've got 10. We're on the last.
it's going to be a short one this time, Stan. It's going to be a short one this time. I think Tony's trying to stall me here a little bit for another 14 minutes, but yeah, Gary's back. Sam.
Yeah.
So we've seen the contrast between Arteta and Lampard, and we've seen our opponents on Saturday, Ole. They've stuck with Ole through thick and thin, and
Yeah, I think he's had some close shaves. I think he's been close,
very close,
and he's
very
just pulled those results out at key times, hasn't he? You know.
Yes, yeah. But isn't there some benefit to saying, "Oh, they stuck with Ole"? So there's
Listen,
no stability in your club. You can do this.
You know, it's an interesting debate that, because in the world of football, you look around. You know, how long on average do managers stay in their job? It's not very long on average.
Maybe
it's
less
not very
than
long.
3 years.
You know, it's not a long-term stint, is it, for most managers?
We're back.
So you know, that is the nature of the beast, unfortunately, in a results-driven business.
Yeah.
In a results-driven business, you know, if you're not producing the results, that's it. You know, they will move someone else in. And in terms of Chelsea, you know, they're used to that, and they're very ruthless. But you know, at the same time, you've got to. I mean, I know it's all open for debate and everything, but the thing is, it seems to have worked. I mean, Chelsea have done very well the last 10 years. They've won Champions Leagues, they've won leagues. You know,
it has worked.
Di Matteo was an interim manager and won the Champions League.
Yep.
You know,
Yes.
So you know, it has worked for them, that policy. That seems to be something that sort of, I don't know what it is, whether it's that new manager bounce all the time that works, and then it just keeps going and going. But there, you know, it's worked for them, that you know, that revolving door of managers. And so the debate is there to be had, whether having one manager who's going to, you know, maybe lose the plot after 2 or 3, 4 seasons and not really know how to renew himself and come with new ideas, and you become stale and you start going downhill, which you see with many clubs and many managers, or you know, or is it good to change every 2 to 3 seasons? It's an interesting debate, you know. And I was just saying, looking at Chelsea and Arsenal, for me, Arsenal's a big club that should have more ambition. We should have an owner who's more like Abramovich. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a good thing, but you know, in terms of stature of the club and wanting to win things. And then, you know, Lampard gets a sack, and we're looking at Arteta like, he's doing a great job. When actually, when you look at it, you know, in terms of where we are and where we've been this season, you know, you can argue it's not been great. But yeah,
there is no doubt. There is no doubt. If you want to pour money into a project, we've seen with Manchester City and Chelsea over the last 15 years, you will get a lot of success. No doubt about that.
But we've had money as well. Remember, we spent the third over the last 5 years. Net spend, we spent the third most.
But
so you know, you can't say we haven't spent money. You know, we just spent it wrong.
That money spent hasn't worked out. We haven't even.
It's spent it wrong. We spent it wrong. Of course, yeah.
They've spent a lot too, but they've gotten a lot more out of their players, even though they still underperform.
Yes, there are clubs like Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester United that will do it the traditional way and build using their academy, bring some players in.
Yeah.
I've got a good sense that we're on the right track with Arteta. We're not going to know for a couple more seasons, but you know, I feel good about where we're going. I think it's been necessary with our squad the way it was. We had to trim it down. We've had a good window. We had to sacrifice the FA Cup, but I think we can all get past that if we do well in the Europa League and in the Premier League. So, final thoughts, Tony. We're not getting the 2 hours. I'm cutting you off in the next 2 minutes.
That's part of my contract. I didn't think you started your 20-minute roundup yet.
Nope, it's going to be 5 minutes this time. Stan, final thoughts? And keep it short, mate.
Yeah, I just think like when it comes to investments, you know, it's like, it's like we don't know how to play Wall Street. It's like, no, we've got the money, but they still want to buy like shares in companies like MySpace instead of Apple. You're like, come on, man, MySpace is done. That shit's done. No one's buying MySpace or Napster anymore. But that's the problem. We've had the money. I think we've probably spent on parity with Liverpool. It's just been poorly invested. And I'll always go back to the amount that, if you look at the combined amount that we spent that one window in Mustafi and Xhaka, was it £75 million on two players that, you know, they ended up becoming part of the shitbag six. What are you going to do?
And we've done something like that recently with Saliba and Pepe as well. So we got to turn that around. Cheddar's good comment there. Look at Chelsea's record. List is awful. Sam, final thoughts, Sam?
Yeah, just want to say, you know, I agree. You know, our clubs there's basically different ways of looking at our clubs, isn't there? And our boards are different, and the owners are different. We've got owners who are basically, they're not even there. They don't, you know, they just put someone in charge, and basically you run it, and we'll just be over here somewhere else, and just sort of let it run its thing. So yeah, Abramovich is a lot more hands-on, isn't he? It's a different ball game. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We've performed. I mean, you look at the way we performed compared to Chelsea. We've done very well. Since Christmas, basically, we've really come along, and well, just before Christmas, we've really come along, and you know, we're doing well, right? We're right the same as Chelsea. That's good. I'm looking forward to Saturday. Just want to round off by saying, looking forward to Saturday. I think that'll be a good game, be entertaining. If we beat Manchester United, I think we can be very proud of ourselves, and that momentum we'll be getting into those games. I think we could end up having a very good, you know, second half of our season. Yeah,
definitely. We started the podcast out with talking about momentum. I'd love to finish the month off, Gary, with a win against Manchester United. Would be really great January for us.
No, definitely. I mean, everybody's been talking about looking at the table and seeing how far we have to go and all the points and places that we have to get and jump over to get there. And, you know, I tell you every time, I just want us to do a little bit better from game to game, right? We did pretty good in the Southampton game, so we can do a little bit better, which also requires that we can stay healthy and we can get some of those players that came off early back in. Be nice to see, and hopefully we'll be able to get something out of this game. You know, definitely would like to get this win, like you said. It'd be nice to get two from United in a season. It would be nice. You know, they were the ones that started. They're the ones that started this whole away against the top six. So why not just get all 6 points from them this season and continue on with their trend? I mean, right now, we are, based on our form, the second best team in the league, based on our form over the last whatever number of games. Man City has 1 or 2 points more than us, and that's for us, that's the difference between that the Newcastle game, right, where we kind of didn't get anything out of it. But otherwise, I think, I think we just need to continue what we're doing. We know what our 11 is. We just got to keep them healthy for all the games that we need them, and the backups, when they come in, need to do what they're allowed. Should I keep going so that?
No, stop talking, Gary.
I got a lot more to say.
Stop, Gary. Keep it going, man.
No,
there was one. I don't know if you guys saw that video.
Very, very happy that we've had some great momentum. I think we can play.
He just cut me off.
We can play on Saturday. That's what the host does. Let's play loose on Saturday. Let's go and get that win. Nice try, Gary. We're not going to make it to 2 hours.
Got an hour. Got 1 minute and 20 seconds left. Come on.
I wanted to talk about that video, the blind spot video. Did you guys see it? With William in the blind spot of Pepe going down the field after he just got on, and Pepe's looking for an outlet, and William's hiding in his blind spot the whole time.
Yes,
so he can't see him, and so
he dribbled in his blind spot. Yes, Pepe and William.
William just sitting in his blind spot. Right. He can't find him.
Nice try, Gary. Listen, Gary, we're going to chat on Saturday. We're going to have a pre-game show. Hopefully you can be there, Gary. Anyone else? Sam, Stan, Tony, anyone else wants to drop in can. We're going to have a Manchester United supporter with us as well. It's going to be fun. 1 hour and 15 minutes before kickoff, we'll be in there. We will give you the lineups live. But life is good right now. This year has started off pretty well in the league. Let's keep this going. Let's get another win against
20
Manchester United. Other than beating Tottenham, for me, Manchester United beating them is the next best thing. We are out of here. We will see you Saturday. We didn't make it to 2 hours. Sorry, Tony.
Come on, let's hold it. Stay. Come on, don't click the button. Don't click the button. Hold it.